Welcome, guys, again. One more episode of Book the Vida. Guys, subscribe. I want to put the webpage on the bottom. Subscribe. Thank you for the support. I told you guys that I was going to bring the best of the best. This time I brought in the best guy. He's a friend of mine. Also, I'm one of his clients too as well. His name is Joseph Sapp, attorney Joseph Sapp. Welcome, Joseph, to our channel.
Thank you for having me, Eric. Again, I'm an attorney in the Orlando area. I service between here and throughout Tampa, Sarasota, Clearwater area, representing pharmacies, ALF, healthcare clinics, pain management clinics, anything healthcare related. You call me, I'll make sure I'm there for whatever you need.
I'll be posting his phone number, and I'm also going to post his name on the bottom of the video. So if you guys have any questions, you guys are welcome to call him at any time. He's 24/7. This guy doesn't sleep. If you don't get him, he's in court. He's trying to get somebody out of jail. Anyway, I got some great questions, and maybe this is something that this is something that a lot of people they ask. They want to know, and I know you're one of the experts in when it comes to medical marijuana and dispensaries and the CBD. I want to ask you because I know a lot of people they're wondering how can they open a medical marijuana dispensary in the state of Florida.
Well, unfortunately, the answer is you don't. Right now, the Florida statute is at a vertical integrated model, meaning that the people who have these dispensaries also have cultivation licenses to grow cannabis. And again, the distinction, as we'll get into later on, between hemp and cannabis is very real, and even at minor points of distinction. So in Florida, hemp, which is 0.3% THC, or cannabis having that, is legal, and you can get permits to grow hemp, cultivate hemp. And the people who sell hemp, while there's a separate license, it's not that vertically integrated process, as it is with medical marijuana, which is anything that has above that 0.3% THC, that you have to have that specialized license. So in these different dispensaries, those dispensaries have their own farms and their own grow operations, and those are regulated by the Department of Health, as opposed to, say, CBD or hemp, which is regulated by the Department of Agriculture.
I mean, why is it that the Department of Health oversees the license for the medical marijuana, and the Department of Agriculture oversees the other permit, which is the one to sell hemp and CBD? Why is it that there's two different departments and not just one department, or both departments overseeing both industries?
Well, I'm sure there's people within those same departments that are asking that same question as they're sent out to do things that some of them are not trained to do. The Department of Health, within their ambient, they know how to look for things that are health-related issues. They're not exactly savvy to, or have to get assistance from other parties that are related to any sort of cultivation or grow operation. The previous administration in the Department of Agriculture, they just really didn't want to have to deal with that, and so they chose not to exercise jurisdiction over the cultivation of medical marijuana, which falls within the ambit of the Department of Health because of the 13 classified conditions that require you to be present and have a doctor certify in order to be put on the Compassionate Care Registry, which would allow you to purchase medical marijuana from a dispensary holding a valid license in the state of Florida legally on the state level.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that called me about a year ago, and there were two licenses that they were awarded to somebody that got them in the state of Florida, and they were being sold for $50 million. Is that something that you can do? If you have $50 million, can you acquire and buy a license, or do you have to have the farming, the selling point? Do you have to have all that stuff before you get that license, or can you get the license and then work on those things to get those things?
I find that there's not much you can't do with $50 million because there are statutory requirements for staff that you have to have on hand. One, you have to have a botanist that's been practicing for a certain number of years that has experience handling medical marijuana and seeds imported from other states. I believe you had to be a licensed nursery with experience in operation for, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe it was at least a decade of experience growing seeds from some sort of out-of-state foreign soil. You know, so the money, if you do not have them, if you have the money, you can at least acquire either the properties or the companies that have these capabilities. And I know that this happened a lot when these licenses came out. You had out-of-state investors who acquired interest into nurseries that have been operating for, say, 10 or 20 years and used them as a vehicle to obtain their own medical marijuana cultivation license, and through that, they're licensed to dispense the same.
A lot of people that they have a gun permit, they come to the clinic and they ask me, like, can I get registered? Am I gonna lose my gun permit, my concealed weapon license? How is that? Because that's a question that I just tell them, like, look, ask that to an attorney, because I don't really know the law. Because a lot of people, they're afraid of getting registered to get into the medical marijuana program because of the concealed weapon license. They think that they're gonna lose it. Can they lose it if they get registered?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, in broad strokes, yes. Again, every situation is different, and I have to be presented with these specific facts for each client that I would retain. But in general, if somebody is up for the concealed weapon, because again, you don't need a permit to own a gun, you don't need a permit to carry a gun, because that's protected activity, is owning firearms. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. However, the health, safety, and welfare, anything that falls under and in that ambient, those are left to the individual states to regulate. So like your concealed weapons permit, and that's what I believe you're referring to, those are issued and regulated by the state of Florida. And there is a section on that concealed weapons permit, either when you get the application or upon renewal of that permit, it asks you whether you are registered as under the compassionate use law, because it's, I guess the belief is that you're more dangerous walking around with a concealed weapon if you also have the capability to consume marijuana in a legal manner.
But I don't get it, because, and I know it's the law. You know, the law is black and white. It's
Well, we kind of, I tend to live in a little bit of gray area. Or the clients that come to me, it's not
Yeah.
so black and white.
Because I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I'm gonna buy alcohol. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I see a lot of people. You know, I mean, you're gonna. It's legal. You don't need a license to buy alcohol. You can go ahead and buy alcohol, and you get drunk and you have a firearm in your hands. I mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna start shooting everybody because you're drunk. And you know what you're doing.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah, but you know, I think, I don't know. I just think that in that area, I think that there is like a little grayish area in there. So you know, I don't understand the reason why you can't have. And a lot of people, they're probably gonna relate with me when not understanding the reason why not having a medical permit, because I have you got to choose either or, but you can't have both. That's what I'm understanding. Am I right? You can't have all
things considering and dependent upon the factual situations. But there is a note on your concealed carry where it asks you if you are registered under the compassionate use program. Now, that does not mean I have not heard of situations where individuals, they get their concealed weapons permit, and then say the next week they register for the concealed carry. Or, you know, vice versa, they get the concealed carry permit and then register for compassionate use. And because they do that in the sequence of order in which they didn't have the compassionate use registration, or, you know, pot card or medical marijuana card, if you would, they could lawfully swear and attest that, no, I am not, and so they could obtain the concealed carry. It doesn't mean once they have a medical marijuana certification that they lose that concealed carry status. But if somebody has gotten into trouble with law enforcement or is involved in an altercation, it might be an issue that does come up. But generally, when you're dealing with a firearm, having or not having a medical marijuana card is the least of your concern when the authorities have apprehended you or, you know, in pursuit.
I have another question that a lot of people they bring to me when they come as a patient to the clinic, because I also work at a clinic. Veterans, You know, they got the VA, they got all these benefits. I don't know what kind of benefits they get, because a lot of people, when they speak to me and they fight for this country, they're always complaining because they don't get enough money after they. And I understand perfectly what they're saying. But a lot of them, when they come in here, the first thing is that they ask me is like, I went to the VA hospital. They mentioned the medical marijuana, but it was a taboo. They don't really want to give it to me at the VA hospital, but they told me that if I get it from you guys, I'm gonna lose my benefits. Is that true? That a veteran from somebody that fought, that came from, from the Army, Marines, whatever service they serve, do they lose their benefits if they get registered for medical marijuana? Is that true?
That's a very important question, one that I've seen posed many times. I have not retained somebody with that specific issue, but I do know that is how it used to be, where if you tested positive for any scheduled substance which you did not hold a prescription for, you would lose your VA benefits. I believe with all the wars that happened in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and what happened to that generation of people who went out to fight for this country, and came back with issues like post-traumatic stress disorder, one of the 13 classifications that's under the compassionate use registry, that the VA has lessened its restrictions. And I believe, please do not hold me to this, but I believe that they now permit former individuals who receive VA benefits to apply and to use medical marijuana, but Again, I would have to clarify that answer myself, but I know it has been lessons, whether it's completely off the table of if you test positive, you lose your benefits, or that's no longer the case, so long you have a compassionate use registry or card. I'd have to clarify that or look further into that. But that is a very good question. I have heard it many times before.
Yeah. How can I get a CBD permit to be able to? Let's start with farming. Can anybody here in the state of Florida buy an acre, or not an acre, in the back of the house right there? You live in a neighborhood, a nice neighborhood, Alaqua or Windermere. Can you grow hemp in the back of your house? What is the regulations? How do you get into that?
I probably don't recommend doing that in Windermere, because the cops pull you over for about anything out there. So do the speed limit or else. But can anybody get a permit to cultivate and grow hemp that is, again, defined as 0.3% THC? Yes, so long as you don't have a felony, so long as there's no some sort of excluding event that you have in the company's owners or background information, and so long as it has not, upon granting, been shown to have violated the law on at least 3 to 5 occasions, which would have stripped a company's ability to cultivate, grow, and sell hemp. So yes, you can get it, but then it depends on where you get it. So again, it has to be classified in an area for agricultural use, because you're going to have an agricultural product. So again, make sure that you have land identified to be able to grow it, because if the department comes out there and you're trying to grow it off the side of I-4, you're probably not going to get it.
What about? Yeah, I got you. But what about? Can I buy? Let's say I open up a little shop. I'm not interested in farming, and I just want to open up a shop to sell CBD. And do I have to buy the CBD from the state of Florida, or can I get CBD from Alaska, New York, Colorado, or Canada? Can I go over the state borderline from Florida and get CBD, so that way I can entertain and have better products, or find something different? Can I do that? Can I just buy from another vendor that is not in the state of Florida?
Can you buy things out of state? The answer is yes. The question is, though, should you? Should you trust a product that's not either cultivated here in Florida or manufactured, which is more important, by a licensed CBD or hemp manufacturer in the state of Florida, having been known and had the safeguards that that company has been vetted by the Florida Department of Agriculture, their COAs, or Certificate of Analysis, have been looked through and verified by the independent third-party lab as having either under broad-spectrum products, which is 0% or no THC, or full spectrum, having 0.3% THC or less. as able to sell and you're not running the risk of you're walking around inadvertently carrying Schedule I substance that you bought off somebody off the street. And that's the way a lot of these things were before these permits came into effect. Because CBD was a very large market even before the permits in Florida came out. And the problem is, and I represented several clients of mine who were nurses who were taking CBD, and then they would work for a hospital and they would test positive for marijuana, and they would come to me and go, I don't understand, I just take CBD, it said I should be fine.
Yeah, that's full spectrum, yeah.
Well, again, but then those terms really didn't exist, because that was even before the 2018 Farm Bill, which defined hemp as having 0.3% THC or less. And so it was the Wild West, where you had some huckster going out there selling snake oil, because there was no verification or certificate of analysis process that you would enable a customer to know what they were getting. So either it would have trace amounts of CBD and they go, oh, that stuff's garbage, it doesn't work, or it could be what's considered a hot product, and they're consuming marijuana, albeit inadvertently, and just never know about it or have the ability to even test that. But now, with this being regulated under Florida law and through the Department of Agriculture, there is something called a QR bottle on the back of each and every label, and customers can get their iPhones and they download a QR reader, and they can read, and the COA can be pulled up right there on the phone, so they can know what exactly it is that they're getting, to make sure that there's not more than just trace amounts of CBD, or they're not buying a hot product or something that says it's broad spectrum, in fact has no THC in it.
Yeah, I had Manelli Supplies in here, Mr. Melvin. He brought a couple bottles, and he had the QR code on the back of the bottles, and we scan it, and yeah, sure enough, yeah, we found, everything that's inside that bottle was on that QR code. Attorney Sapp, my last question. Can you have a food truck, like just to say a food truck, and you can sell CBD inside of that food truck? Can you be mobile, or do you have to have a shop? Can you do online, or can you do all of them? That's for a lot of people. They're gonna ask, like, do I gotta have a physical structure, like a building or a shop, to open up a CBD store, or can I just sell out of a table in the middle of the road or somewhere, I don't know, the flea market, or can I sell online? How can these people obtain a CBD permit, and do they have to have a location?
All right, and to, again, there's multi-part question there, and the answer is always yes, if. Yes, if you pay the right agency that has the permit to do the activity that is specifically defined and regulated by the department. And if there is no regulation defining the product that you'd like to sell, then there's no permit to get, meaning that you're in kind of that gray area waiting to see if other departments in Florida, like the Department of Business and Professional Responsibility, if they want to take up the hemp permit as it pertains to lotions, your creams, or maybe your makeup or cosmetics. But going back to the retail store, yes, you have to get a retail CBD or hemp license under the hemp wholesale retail food establishment permit. Do you want to sell it on a mobile? Do you want to be a mobile vendor? Well, yes, you can. And if you are a store that sells or makes CBD type products, and so long as you have a commissary note from the vendor or where the place is made in, say, a commercial kitchen, and again, these areas, making sure that they're not just residential areas of somebody selling out of their garage or their house, that it's zoned for commercial purposes. So, people actually they could sell out of their car, they could get a food truck, and if so long as the appropriate commissary relationship is in check, and so long as they don't violate any food safety or standards, yes, they can also get, if they have a retail license, that licensed retail store can get a mobile hemp food permit from the Florida Department of Ag, and it always if they pay for it, and if they do it in the application.
I got you. Well, Attorney Sapp, Joseph Sapp, thank you for coming into our channel. We look forward to see you again. Don't let this to be the last time to be here. I appreciate your time. I'm going to post all his information on the bottom. If you guys want to get in touch with him, have any issues, pain management, anything when it comes into the healthcare part, you can call Joseph Sapp. Great guy. He's going to be very blunt with you. Whether you like him or not, he's going to be the man to speak to. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joseph.
Eric, it's my pleasure.